the money in the bank.
Hit you with the 808.
Hit you with the. Hit you with the bank. Hit you with the. Hit you with the 808. Hit you with the. Hit you with the 808. Bang to the break, bang to the break, bang to the break, bang, 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 bang. I'm a boss, yeah, you know that I'm finna shine. Got the money
Hello, everyone, and welcome. The LCQ is now here. One final shot for these ladies and non-binaries, of course, to make it into the VCT Game Changers Elite coming at the end of the year. Tash Bunny here alongside Raf. We're your hosts and analysts for today. And today, for this particular match, is going to be very exciting.
Incredibly exciting and energetic, much like our host Tash Bunny. I can't believe I've completely forgotten what it's like to be with Tash on the desk. You know, it's just minute one, your boots are on the ground, you're off to the races. But that's exactly it. Again, the stakes are so high. Everybody wants a chance to compete at Elite, and I feel like this is going to be one of the most demanding tournaments for all our participants today, and if not for the whole LCQ.
It's going to be super exciting. Of course, we have the big names already done and dusted out of the league, which leaves a lot of space as well as chances for the newer teams to really grow and thrive coming into this competition. And it's honestly really exciting when we go back into like the teams coming through, because we start to see these very familiar names coming around, names that we've seen in those big teams back in the day. And now they're just forming a team, playing with new other players to really see what it is they can build from ground up themselves as they start again the new chapter.
That's exactly what I mean by demanding, as again some of these teams and again players are not super familiar with the environment that they're being thrown into, but it is definitely a trial by fire, Tash.
Definitely. As we are going to go into the game after this, I think that we are going to be understanding or seeing the roadmap of the VCT Game Changers. If you guys were not aware, we are currently in stage 2, the LCQ, where currently we have a $10,000 prize pool at stake, where we get 2 teams to qualify into Elite, which will be joining the, I believe, the 4 or 5 teams that have already qualified into Elites. That's happening soon. So coming into today, there's another way or another chance for them to qualify. And I think that in this situation, it's very, very dire, because this is the final chance for them to get into Elite. And of course, when you get into Elite in stage number 3, you have a $35 prize pool coming, 35,000, sorry about that, prize pool coming through, where they are going to be trying to make it into champions.
Absolutely. And you know, I can level with Tash here when she is that wealthy. $35 and $35,000 are not that big of a difference, according to Tash.
Oh my god. But anyways, here are the playoffs teams that will be making it through. We have 8 teams in total. Be My Team, Bot, Deviant, Topaz, MLT Esports, Nana and Friends, Neons, NYX, Kyosei, as well as the Hero KDA. Now, some of these teams we have seen before in Open 2 and Open 3 who didn't make it, and some of them are completely new teams that really threw us off guard.
Threw us off guard is a great way to describe it, especially with the, again, just the emergence of the players from the Hero KDA and, again, other versions of some of those teams, Tash, but the true heavyweights and, again, the opposition that is quite stacked against them, which is our top 6 already lying in wait for whoever survives the LCQ.
Yeah, now the teams here, I would say they are familiar household names and familiar suspects that we are seeing. Team SMG this year had a great year coming forward. I think they have really created the power team to really solidify themselves as a team compared to last year, where their previous roster was a little bit more close in terms of, I would say, their form with other teams, alongside RRQ Kaguya. Now we also have Orangutan X, as well as Scythe NWJ, Full Sand Sapphire, as well as Global Esports Phoenix, who got the final slot on 6. Now we have 2 more spots for these teams. Who will be taking it home is going to be the question. While some of these teams are completely brand new, they are some of the players definitely do have that competitive experience, and the experiences for these teams will try to lead them into this $10,000 prize pool.
As mentioned earlier and in previous broadcasts, this is the type of money where you can only find lying around in Tash's apartment. It's one of those loose change type of things. But again, guys, jokes aside, that is still quite a hefty sum. So aside from the glory and the chance to, once again, ascend, that is, again, a huge chunk of change. Maybe not for Tash, but for everyone else. Absolutely.
Yeah, $10,000 is what they're looking for. $2,500 for the first and second place. Now, as we come into this tournament, I think that for a lot of people, we know that we may not be seeing, or we are not going to be seeing the big teams' places. They have already qualified, so we can put that out of the way. I think just to really, set expectations for you guys, let's have a look at the brackets, because when you look at the brackets here, you're going to be seeing some new teams that probably we have never heard of before. But coming into this substream today, we have Nana and Friends versus NYX Kyosei in the upper brackets. And the lower brackets for this particular stream, we're going to be watching the hero KDA alongside Bot. Now, we have already seen Nana and Friends and NYX play before this, I believe, or at least the players have been playing before. We've casted their games, we've done analysis for them. The hero KDA, we've seen them come into the tournament twice in Open 1 and 2, I believe. Now, Bot is a completely new team, which I am so excited to see what they can bring to the table.
What can they bring to the table is a question for a lot of these teams. But talking about Bot, I believe this was... Actually, no, it is Point of Authority Blossom, formerly known as. And I feel like this is a type of team where we've talked about how solid their fundamentals can be and how their protocol is very, very present. It's just how they can deliver that on a consistent basis is something that we're pretty much demanding from them. And again, there's just a level of truth to that for all these teams. It's going to be a slog. It's going to be a grind all the way from top to bottom in our LCQ.
I think what makes this competition very, very exciting as well is the fact that now that with the, I would say, the bigger teams out of the way, we can see these teams sort of really not only try, but really thrive as well without being so oppressed by the bigger opponents. This also gives them a chance to, for teams who don't make it, this is the chance for them to be able to experience competitiveness, to experience how it's like to play on the bigger stage. Because now when you look at the difference between all of the big teams who have already qualified into GE, alongside these newer teams in LCQ, I think what is lacking between them is literally just that competitive experience. I would say that individually, all of these players are very, very talented. They know how to play. They're very, very mechanically skilled. It all comes down to how they thrive under that pressure, how they thrive in moments where everything is against them, economy-wise, I would say lineup-wise, or even getting counter-strategy. What are you going to be doing? How can you manage that mental as you move into the game? Because I think one of the biggest factors that we can see from the teams that lack that competitive experience is the, I would say, the tilt.
True. Again, dealing with the mental warfare aspect of the game, and plus just to kind of iron out those smaller details that make a great team is still something that we're excited to see from some of these lineups. But speaking of lineups, Tash, we are going to be introduced to, again, one of our competitors very, very soon.
That's right. We are going to be seeing our 2 series for the day. But the first one, we're going to be seeing Nana and Friends. We have Angel Lawfei, Sanderi, Cupcake Izanagi or Izzy, as well as Nuki. Now, these players we have seen play before, again, under another team. And some of them have been playing in bigger teams, especially Nuki. Keep an eye out for her.
Absolutely. And just proving to be a problem on many fronts is this team. As we've looked at their record, they are pretty decent when it comes to defaulting. And talking about the previous banner they competed under, it was the greatest name known to man, the Capybara Gang. Why change it, guys? What was wrong with a capybara? The deceptive nature of the capybara.
Listen. Capybaras were on trend for a little while on TikTok, and now we move on from that meme, okay? Nana is the new one. But let's have a look at the next team. We also have another team called NYX Kyosei. Now, NYX Kyosei, I believe that this team is like a puzzle made out of so many different players that we have seen before. We have Somebody One, which used to be Capricious. We saw her play on OG alongside RRQ. We've seen Con, who we used to call her Miha. Delbisky, one of the most, I would say, very, very strong players I've seen so far, especially last year in GC. So I would say that this team, while we don't know the name of the team, the players are definitely someone or people that we've seen compete before.
Oh yeah, and just looking at how this roster is constructed and just looking at the previous record, especially against Nana and Friends, it did look like there was a lot of issues on the side of Nana trying to break through that initial layer of the double duelist, but obviously Piety had to stand above the rest with her performance. And again, when I talk about being pretty layered, is that once you deal with, again, the likes of Somebody One or Capricious, or again, anybody who's running that secondary duelist role, there's still a third layer of the controller, the cleanup crew, and the backline, which has proven to be quite effective in this matchup specifically.
Yeah, now if you guys didn't know, Nana and Friends as well as NYX Kyosei, this is technically their rematch. Now, previously
Mm.
NYX Kyosei won against Nana and Friends 2-1 just a few days ago in the Swiss stage, where we saw Ascent, Pearl, and Bind with 9-13, 13-4, and 13-7. And it shows that Nana and Friends, when it comes to, as Graf mentioned earlier, the default style play, especially on Ascent, they thrive. But when it comes to set plays, that is where we can really see teams like NYX, Kyosei really shine through. Now let's have a look at the map select and see what exactly is it going to be the same picks or will it be different this time? And we are going to be seeing, wow, the only thing different this time, instead of
Mm.
Pearl, we're getting Fracture. What do you think, Raf?
I mean, we talked about how good the defaults are for a lot of these teams. I feel like Fracture is the type of map that will pretty much stress their playbook because aside from just kind of building chemistry and getting to know how everybody operates, now you throw in a more structured approach, a more execute type map and play style. It does kind of get a little messy at times. So having that as a second map, I think is incredibly smart. And NYX Kyosei banning Pearl, which I believe is one of Nana and Friends' stronger maps, is already
Yes.
quite advantageous for them. And we talked about this many
I
times too,
mean,
Tash.
I wouldn't say that Nana and Friends thrives on Pearl, given the fact that NYX Kyosei actually defeated them 13-4. So there might be an issue.
Mm.
So
It-
again, while it might be a map that they're strong, it might be a different proficiency coming in for Nana and Friends. Now, I think I really want to talk
Mm.
about like what we can expect from the players here. If you look at NYX, right, I think for Capricious for a long time, a lot of us had our eyes on her as this insane jet, insane movement, very sharp sort of duelist. But I think since she joined RRQ as well as this team, we start to see her take a back seat running that flex. We saw her on Sova, we've seen her on Jet, and the Sova will definitely be seeing her play on the Scent.
I really like that development because at first it just, when you look at players like that, it's just super, super, I guess, very forward aggressive and a hot-headed type of play style. But once you kind of reel them in and add a little bit of temperance to the mix, they become that much more refined and they can channel their energy and their fragging on, I would say, a cleaner approach, right? Because again, I feel like this is true for a lot of our Jet players, especially on the younger end. There's just something so exciting about flying over everybody, being faster than everybody. But at some point in time in your career, the game is going to slow down, and that's only going to benefit, well, said player.
That's right. And we also are going to be seeing, I think the reason why you're putting Capricious on this flex roll is because I think it gives that space for Delby to be able to frag out. Now, if we remember her last year, she was one of the most insane fraggers that we've seen on VCTGC. I would love to see her come back again because it's been a hot minute since we've seen her here. Now, we also are seeing a lot more of an initiator heavy role as well, which really shows that what we can expect from NYX Kyosei is this aggression. Now, for Nana and Friends, the question that I have for them is, do they have an idea on how exactly they can, I would say, stop this sort of very aggressive style play? How can you do what can you do to counter strat them? Because it's not like they haven't played each other for a while. It's just quite recent, and I am in this understanding or in this belief that if you have just played another team and you're doing a rematch, I would say the losing team may learn a lot more coming forward into the next game.
Especially when data is presented, right? And you
Yeah.
talked about how Pearl would be a pretty decent map on a normal day for Nana and Friends. I think something that we forgot to mention is perhaps playstyle compatibility. Sometimes it just doesn't work against some other teams, and with NYX Kyosei constructed the way they are, and again, Nana and Friends just having trouble peeling those layers away from them, getting that fragging power so they can somewhat, again, simplify the game and just, again, try to play at their own pace. Again, I feel like
Yeah.
that's so much to ask, right? First, you gotta peel off the layers, then you gotta dictate the pace, and then so on and so forth. But hey, that's what the LCQ is about. It's kind of demanding evolution from everybody across the board.
Yeah, and I think that I really want to talk about Nana and Friends as well, because I think while we have seen them play, we didn't see that impact that we wanted to see. Because coming back into their previous games, I don't think there was an impactful game enough for us to really talk about them, because it seems like, because again, the way they play is heavy onto the default, but you can't exactly have that sort of playstyle when it comes to maps like Fracture, Bind, Pearl, even Split, because you do need to take that proactive measure, especially on attack side. What are you going to do when you go into those chokes? How exactly are you going to execute into that set play? And what are you going to do to really figure out where the clues are going to be? How exactly are the setups going to be? And how are you going to be counteracting that? because we haven't seen that quite yet, and I'm really curious how the Nine Friends are going to be able to do it. Because again, when you are a new team, or at least if you are a team looking at the players from NYX Kyosei, you got to think, oh my god, we've seen these players play. They are a team with a lot of experience. Is it going to intimidate you, or are you going to answer the rally call?
That's a good question too. Like, aside from just the technicality of the game, it's really more of like a mental thing. It's like, oh no, we lost to this team once. Is this our chance of redemption, or are we gonna fold again? And you mentioned it at the earlier portion of our broadcast. Sometimes experience really will carry the day for a lot of these teams, and it becomes like this endurance test for which team can hold it together longer. And that's just how Valorant can be sometimes. It's not all about super explosive set plays. It's not all about, the paper X W key every day, although that is my preferred medium of
It's very
play,
fun to
but
watch.
it is so fun to watch, but there's just so many ways to do and just to approach the game. It's really one of the loveliest things about Valorant.
Yeah, that's right. But for now, we're gonna be going to a break, and when we come back, will we see a round 2 between NYX Kyosei and Nana and Friends? Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll see you in a little while.
Show me what you got. Back that up, 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 ba Show me what you got. Show me what you got. Down, up, back, back, up, God, down, up, back, back, God, down, up, back, back, up, God, down, up, back, back, God, down, up, back, back, up, God, down, up, back, back, God, down, up, back, back, up, God. Ain't no reason to back down, so step it up. God, down, up, back, back, up, God, down, up, back, back, God, down, up, back, back, up, God, down, up, back, back, God, down, up, back, back, up, God, down, up, back, back, God, down, up, back, back, up, God.
Got the money in the bank. Hit you with the. Hit you with the bank. Hit you with the. Hit you with the 808. Hit you with the. Hit you with the 808. Bang to the break. Bang to the break. Bang to the break. Bang, 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 bang. I'm a boss, and you know that I'm finna shine. Got the money in the bank. Got the money in the bank. Got the money in the bank. Bank, 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 bank. Got the money in the bank.
Hit you with the 808.
Hit you with the. Hit you with the bank. Hit you with the. Hit you with the 808. Hit you with
Well, that was a very, very long break, but we are now back at the VCT Game Changers Asia Pacific. This is the LCQ day number 1. Tash here alongside Raf, your panels or analysts for today. And today is going to be very exciting, especially this game, as we are going to see a rematch between NYX Kyosei alongside Nana and friends.
I was trying my best not to sneeze there at the beginning, if you guys didn't notice. But yes, the rematch, and we talked about all the things that would be running into the minds of our players. Is NYX Kyosei going to finally at least try to have a repeat, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not swapping the scores around? But again, on the side of Nana and friends, they did get one map already in that previous encounter, so that's something that they have to focus on. They have to tell themselves, guys, we are only one map away. And again, just mentality first. LCQ is going to be a test of endurance.
Yeah, let's have a look at the map. Sorry, not map select, but rather the... Oh, but anyways, we are already in the game. So anyways, we're just going to start it off right here. Let's see what this first map is going to be like. Take it away, Vic and Quack.
Thank you very much, Tash and Raph. Yeah, we're already in game. Sorry for the tech issue, but you know, just jumping straight into things, Vic. To be NYX Kyosei, Nana, and friends, they've maybe faced off against each other before, but you know, I mean, what do you think of the map select and everything?
I think it's interesting. With NYX, you're right. They faced off before. Nana and friends were the ones who won on Ascent last time, but NYX is the one who picked this map. So they definitely want to come in, redeem themselves, and show that they are the superior ones at Ascent. I mean, I could see no other reason why they would do this. Also curious, though, NYX is much stronger on attack-sided historically throughout this recent game changers group stages, and they continue to begin on the attack side. So it'll be really interesting if Nana and friends can continue the trend of their win on Ascent last time, and they're really going to need it because judging by the second map pick, Fracture, NYX also tends to have a slightly better track record there.
Ooh, and that's why, I mean, it's kind of interesting as to how the team selected which side they want to play on. So, you know, you might think maybe it's a little bit of preference, and that's kind of what I have to lean towards. And also just kind of looking at how the teams are structured. Yes, you know, Nana and friends, as the name suggests, they're friends. They used to be the Capybara gang. They don't have a coach. Meanwhile, on the other hand, NYX Kyosei, ex-Zolmaraki players and all, they have a coach with them. So it might lend to some of these differences in how they play. And that's kind of the thing that, you know, you might be worried about if you are a Capybara Gang, Nana and Friends fan. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, no, that's a really great point. I think when you have a coach there, that third party kind of watching from outside, it does lend to a lot of additional perspectives. And I
oh my God.
love these logos, these team logos so much.
The
it
best!
looks like Raf's shirt. It's Raf's shirts. It like separated into logos.
Which is, I guess, kind of what we needed for the matchup today, just to divide the audience a little bit.
Whose dog is that? I want to know whose dog that is.
If we get an interview.
That's the question. That's really the only thing I want to know at this point. We can see we have mirror comp matchups right now. These are the same comps they used last time. And we were talking a bit about this. It might also come down to the IGLs. You know, you were talking about coach being on one team, but the IGLs also is just going to be a really big factor who's going to make those calls. What I find really curious is Som, also known as Capricious, previously, I think she's going by Som now, is that flex player. Oh, she also switched
She's
her
a duelist
role.
this time. Yeah.
She's a duelist this time. Yeah, that's right. She was Delbisky was on Jet last time. So yeah, I think this could affect a lot of how they're going to be going to Ascent.
In fact, I think that's why they definitely picked Ascent. But, you know, we'll see how it all plays out, right? I mean, Som, you might pick the Jet, and she might have a different impact as compared to how, I guess, players like Angela play Jet. You know, slight differences in the amount of first kills and first deaths that they both have. For me particularly, Angela actually has a lot more first deaths, and that's the thing that hurts the most. You don't want to die too early, and that's what I'm going to look out for.
Yeah, that's a great point. And Som definitely last time, even on the Sova, had the highest kills. She was the MVP last time. I'm really curious to see how she's going to be playing on this Jett. And you're absolutely right. You don't want to go in as a Jett with just one kill. You want to get in there and make a lot of impact, create a lot of space. So this is what we're going to be looking for on both sides.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, I kind of wish Tasteless was here, you know? With this agent
Why?
composition.
Are you not okay with me?
No, I'm okay with you, but look, we got the perfect mirror comp, but already things are heating up into the A site, just diving in. Som, unfortunately, not going to be able to find anything much, and close range contact, a bit of the frenzy coming out through from doors, and a bit of a trade coming out from NYX as well. They might be able to get the spike planted, but look at the positioning coming out from Nana and Friends right now.
That's right. And Delbisky here is trying to get into trees. They don't seem... They know that she's there, trying to get those kills, creating some pressure while that spike is down.
It's just a little bit of pressure though, Vic, and unfortunately not enough. She's been easily dealt with by Cupcake, and now maybe if we break the door as we go through Heaven, the players from NYX are going to be faced with so much pressure. Muck will just rain down upon them, and that's the pistol round to Nana and Friends.
Isn't Muck that Pokemon?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, or it's Mook or Muck. But yeah, pistol round is where it all begins. And as we know, pistol rounds really it can help define the next 3 rounds to start. This is really a good way for them to begin.
Economically speaking, right? And at the same time, just thinking about how the rounds played out. I mean, the way that Nana and Friends played out this pistol round on defense, whoa, it's pretty good.
Keep it cool. That's how you survive.
Well, into the next round, and going off of what Victoria was talking about, economy on Nana and Friends side now, they're looking a little bit better. So some buys coming through. NYX not backing down, though, with their own Sheriff buys coming out. Some trying to explore middle a little bit.
Yeah, they're looking for that pick right now, trying to get any information possible. You can see they're playing really for information here. That spike is all the way practically near their spawn, while Som wanders around looking for something to walk into her crosshairs.
I guess this is what they call the tactical cycle, Vic. They're waiting for Nana and Friends to kind of peek out, play off the information that they get, but Nana and Friends are disciplined right now. Fragment was spent by Nuki, so she knows that there's a little bit of presence towards A short, and that's why we have a 3 stack towards the A site from Nana and Friends.
Yeah.
But at the very same time, NYX is rotating back towards B, so let's go.
Yeah, I mean, Nana and Friends knows they don't need to push out at this very moment. They just need to wait for that push into site, and here they decided to go into B.
And it's quick, Vic, and as soon as they made a bit of noise, the rotation from Nana and Friends already come towards the B side. Spectres will rain bullets everywhere. Muck getting a triple kill. 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, this is just easy days for Nana and Friends right now. They're looking like they're holding their defense really well. It's always tough walking into Spectres.
Alarm bot out.
And if this continues, it's gonna upset our predictions, Vic. Because we thought NYX would probably do better on the attacking side. But right now, with the way that they're pushing through, Nana and Friends being that safe, that careful, just kind of luring NYX into traps again and again. Well, it comes down to the 3rd round, though, if NYX can turn this around with their full buy.
Well, yeah, it's up. It's again at this rate, they have the superior guns at the moment. They finally have their full buy, as you pointed out. But Nana and Friends, again, just patiently holding, waiting to get the information to see what NYX is up to. It looks like they're setting up for that A entry.
Yeah, that's a good way to go through it. Drone first, maybe clear out wine. But look at the positioning from Nana and Friends as well. Angela just a little bit more forward towards A short. Maybe a bit of an off angle coming out from Nuki. But at the same time, Cupcake inside of Hell. If she can hold this position long enough, buy those rotations over, do a bit of damage, it could be good, but unfortunately she's only going to be able to take down 1 with her. NYX already has the sight, and at the same time, a lone Killjoy player, I think it's Delbisky, all the way lurking, coming out from A main. And Nana and friends are very aware of it. That's why they're checking out A short right now.
That's right.
Recon
I mean,
comes through though.
it does. The information was really critical. They've completely flooded into site really quickly,
No way.
and that retake,
Last player
this
standing.
post plant is going to be everything going to the next round. Izzy with nothing but a bit of util to try to get some info. But it's not quite enough.
Close though. Actually was kind of close, Vic. I was surprised. The moment I saw Muck swing out with the Spectre, in round 3 that is, based off of the recon from Ice, she was able to take down 2 players who were positioned on Generator. But that said, you know, with the firepower that NYX finally had, they managed to turn things around. So standard start for both teams.
That's right, and you can see NYX now just hungry. They look like they're about to charge into B very quickly. They're ready to flood into site. They know exactly what's set up here at this point with a Killjoy and that initiator. Sova hiding back of Boathouse. Storm already getting as much space as possible.
Ooh. Well, you could hide in Boathouse, but not for long, especially if Sam's watching the angle. Angela fights back though with her own Vandal. Now dashes up front in towards Delbisky, but the turret slows her down. Good information. NYX just holds their ground. 1 player left coming out from Nana and Friends, and fortunately she's not going to be able to do too much. The old Capybara gang, the Cuppy Cake, she's trying to find whatever she can, just positioned outside of defender spawn.
This is
Recon.
really tough. That's a Cuppy Cake. Yeah, uses her remaining smoke. She could, if she can isolate through some pools, it is possible. She gets 1. 2. Is she gonna get that
Vic.
3rd? It's happening. These omens
Paranoia.
can get really tricky.
Oh, but she's running out of time. There's quite a bit of pressure on her shoulders. She checks every angle, but unfortunately, Wiley swinging on her mouse shoe knee. Oh, puts an arrow to her knee at that moment.
Yeah, the knees, they're a weak point, you know? It's really hard when you get kneecapped. It looks like they're gonna try again.
Do your arms get heavy as well, Vic?
You are
Maybe-
not about
Okay. But it is a 2-2 start. And that's how you kind of want to play, you know, I guess a 1-on-1 situation. Previously a 1-on-3. Good attempt by Cuppy Cake, but Shuni just repositioning herself. That was good. Now on to the next round. And we have a bit of a fake coming through. Paranoia sent in towards B, and it forces the players from Nana and Friends back towards site. Meanwhile, the rest of the squad just going deep into mid. They have options here. In fact, they might be going in for a B split. Or are we rotating to A, really?
Yeah, this is really fascinating. NYX, at this point, you know, we were just talking about them being stronger on attacker side, and it looks like they've completely gained their momentum now, and they're just charging in with Som
Oh my
leading the
God.
cavalry. Misses a critical first shot going into B site, but it doesn't matter. Site is cleared,
Spike planted.
and it's for their taking.
That's one way to take space. And now you've got Angela along with her teammate coming out from behind. However, the turret has given away their position, and you only have sheriffs in this one spot, so it comes down to the sharp shooting. Peeks out, and Piety along with Delbisky will take her down. Maybe your predictions are right after all, Vic.
My predictions are always right. Quack.
That's true. That is true.
No,
I've learned.
I'm about to jinx it. I just jinxed something here. But we're just going based on data, right? This isn't random predictions. It's just facts. The facts are NYX has a better track record here on Ascent, but both teams, and honestly, a lot of teams are very good at Ascent. It's one of the oldest maps in Valorant, and one that I know we both love as well. And most players just know this map really well. It's really about outsmarting each other. Especially when you have mirror matchups here for comps.
yes.
It's really about outsmarting each other and really digging into that strat book and finding each other's weaknesses. And you can see NYX has figured it out. All they have to do at this point is flood into a site, and it's theirs for the taking.
Right? Everyone's so used to it by now. And along with how, you know, Nana and Friends' economy hasn't worked out so great, Now the Killjoy lockdown placed onto site itself, creating so much space, because if you're stuck inside that field, you get detained, you can't shoot, you can't do anything. Nana and Friends has to respect this, and they're slowly setting up for that retake. Now pushing out from Tree along with Heaven. A big recon stuck onto her Chuni, and Piety has to swing around on a swivel! A double kill coming out of nowhere. Cupcake trying to fight back, but now the push going through onto site itself. Delbisky holds it down, and that's how NYX claims their 4th win.
It got a little bloody there, but that initial Killjoy lockdown was so important, keeping them out of sight for so long, creating that pressure on defense. And the chaos just ensued. So, I mean, at the end, NYX is in the lead at 4 points.
And that just, again, goes back to your point about their attacking round win rate, Vic. Because looking at the numbers now, it is a 62% statistic that they have on the attacking side. If they can keep this up and secure even more rounds, let's say we end the first half with, like, I don't want to jinx it, you know, but 8-4, 9-3 maybe? Nana and Friends will have a tough time on the defensive side, especially given their defensive win rate on Ascent, which is, you know, it's pretty good. But against 62%, 58 is just not high enough. Cupcake now getting flushed out of wine. She might be stuck in this corner, and Angela's trying to bail her teammate out with this Marshall. But again, it's just buys that aren't that good enough.
Well, NYX has definitely changed up the tempo a little bit after conditioning them for these flood pushes. And you can see how NAF is responding to this. They are pushing up, trying to hold any aggressive pushes. But with this change of tempo, I think it was just a really good call by NYX.
Yeah, Som making a lot of these plays, creating the space on the site, but Muck denies it outright. 2 shots back to back. And that's going to be 1 player down. They're going to have to pick her back up, the KO. Because that's what you go into once you pop her ultimate. A down but not out state. 4 players from NAF now, just trying to retake. But again, not the best guns in hand. NYX holding down some of these positions as well. Khan not really allowing anyone from NAF to pick up that rifle. Angela has the blades though. But at this range, it's a little bit tricky unless she goes for right clicks. She does manage to secure a kill. Nuki getting a couple as well, and suddenly you have everyone from NYX dissipated. A bit of friendly fire as well on towards Angela, but you know what? You've got the round win, Vic. It's all good. 3-4.
That's right. Nana did great there. They had at their disposal, while they didn't have the superior guns, they had a lot of utility. I really like how they executed here, making full use of all of it to take control of that post-plant situation.
Here.
Absolutely. I mean, especially with Angela and her Blade Storm, I think that was one of those things that dismissed Khan. And at the same time, the way that Muck just held down the push on her own with 2 Sheriff shots, that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it completely was. But now we're seeing their ults up online, especially that Killjoy lockdown. I expect that coming into play here because now with the scoreline coming a bit closer, we're getting close to that first half end. NAF definitely wants to get as many rounds as possible in the bag.
Be great if they can tie up the scoreline right now. That's also why they're playing so defensively, and I believe there is an operator at hand, Angela, trying to make sure that nobody crosses mid too safely. But that's also why Piety smokes it off completely with her dark cover, ensuring that her team would get safe passage towards A short. But this is where Nuki's positioned. Franklin sent out. Oh, we're just diving in.
Blade Storm is down. Unable to use it, but Piety is making sure they get in.
Well, I guess you don't need to use it if Piety's getting all these crispy shots, like in her name. Hunter's Fury used to kind of delay the spike plant for a second. You know, you could close in the distance off of that, but that said, it is a 3-on-4 situation. You're gonna have to even out the odds somehow. And this lockdown could be a way, but look at the positioning from NYX right now. Som immediately dismissing Muck. And that is a backline opened up. She could push it off of this. Teammates trying to hold as well, but nobody's watching the site. Nuki comes through with a double kill of her own. And that is tying up the score 4-4.
Yep, it is back on 4-4 right now, and they looks like they figured it out. That post plant retake. I'm really curious going into this next round now how each of these teams are going to be adapting to each other.
I'm not sure how you're gonna do it. First of all, Operator is still a really strong tool. The lockdown was used, so you might be able to go in a little bit more aggressive. But looking at the buys that NYX has right now, unless there's a very fixed game plan in how they want to take the site and maybe overwhelm some of the Nana players, it's gonna be tough, Vic, because Nana has been so safe so far.
That's right. They've been very safe, and it's been ultimately paying off. Now with NYX, with nothing but Sheriffs and half armor, they're still choosing to go into B site where they know that Killjoy is set up. At this point, they probably realize Nana is really good with that util, and baiting all that out could come in handy.
You're right, Vic. I mean, they did the paranoia. It blinded the Killjoy turret, but still, when you have Cupcake just instantly using the From the Shadows into sight to hold down the line, that is good damage. Shuni, though, taking her out. And all of a sudden, NYX has captured this point on the map. Two players left from Nana and Friends, and they are trying to retake with whatever they've got. A lockdown, though, pushes them back. Nuki has no choice but to push up front, given her position. Gets traded by Som now. She did do a good bit of damage. It's up to Angela in a 1-on-2. Operator at hand, though. Oh my goodness! The cloud first, and then she scopes in. Shuni, 1-on-1. Here's the footsteps. And unfortunately, maybe a little bit of a careless push from Angela towards the end. Gives Shu a free kill in a way.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Angela was really lucky on that first one, but her luck really didn't hold going into that second face-off there. But Som's repositioning, going really deep onto their spawn, really surprised Nana, and that ended up paying off for NYX and, you know, keeping them slightly in the lead, which they really need, because now it looks like Nana only has half armor.
And that's kind of the thing about these two duelists, Angela as well as Som. Really aggressive, very forward-thinking, forward positioning, but even if they die, they're actually creating so much space, a lot of chaos for their team to kind of capitalize off of. A bit of presence towards B now, and look at what's happening on the minimap. 4 players from NAF, all towards the B site, leaving Cupcake alone on A, but a bit of a swing, and Shuni is dead. You got Delbisky right beneath you. And unfortunately, she doesn't see it, so this might be the spike plant, unless Muck does something. Now we're gonna wait. We're gonna chill.
Yeah, Muck's not doing anything yet. I think Muck is waiting for the rest of her teammates to come in, because that's when it pays off. There are only 3 of NYX up at the moment, but if they can hold this cleverly, win these duels, they can go into 6.
Oh, it might happen, Vic. We're suddenly in a 1-on-1. Shots traded, but Nuki with the pop flash. Underhand toss. Completely catching Piety off guard. We are tied up now, 5-5.
You know, the last time they faced off, Nuki was really critical as well. Getting the second highest frags on this map, and I'm seeing a lot of this repeating here with Nuki getting a lot of those critical shots and completely turning around these rounds.
And you really have to love just fundamentally how well she's playing as well. I mean, if you can be that sole player to turn things around for your team, that's star power right there. So off of that loss now, I believe it's NYX just calling the timeout, their coach wanting to have a say in this.
Yeah, is this NYX's timeout? At this point, when it's this close, I think a timeout was in order by either one of these teams, to be honest. And was it NYX that you were mentioning that has a coach?
Yes, NYX is the one with the coach.
Again, this is really helpful. We were talking about Som being that IGL, even though she's a flex role. She is playing a duelist right now. I think it is tough to be a duelist IGL. It's not the most common position that we see. Typically, they're initiators, controller, something that can kind of take a step back and, isn't the first one entering into site. So having a coach here is, like you mentioned, could be the game changer for their team.
Yeah, that third-party opinion. But at the same time, I mean, you got the power of friendship on Nana and Friends, Vic.
But
And
who's Nana?
We don't know. Maybe it's a dog. Maybe it's the dog.
No, Nana. What was a cat? They had a cat
Oh,
logo.
it was the cat. Dang it. Maybe it's the cat then.
Get your animals. Unless it was like a cat-looking dog. It looks like they're wandering deep into mid. Nana and her friends are letting them get that info and wander around. They're playing again really, really far back, playing it safe. There is no need for them to push out and fight so early on.
Cover going
Just
out.
kind of anticipating where the push might head towards as well. And that's why you kind of hold out towards defender spawn, being able to pivot around the backwards position so much. Now you can stack up towards the A site, and that's exactly where the hit is going towards. Angela, hiding inside of Hell, able to find one frag. Nuki comes back out from the side of door as well. So despite the push coming out from NYX, they managed to go into site. They weren't quite able to take out these players. Nana and Friends off the timeout, called by NYX, by the way, being able to dish out so much damage. From the shadows in towards B side, however.
It is a 4v1 right now, with just Peggy, who completely dipped and went to B side. But I've seen miracles like this happen with Omens in particular. She gets one, but that market hit comes in. Nuki once again finding a different angle and taking her down. You know, it's just not worth the risk, even if it's a 4v1 situation. I think Nana and Friends did it right here.
True.
And played it safe, just covering all the angles, even though there's just one.
Last round before the
I also think, Vic, you jinxed it, because she only finds one. You don't find a second one afterwards.
You never
Once
find
she's-
two. Like, the count from Sesame Street would be really upset. One. We stop at one.
Unless that's the number of the day, But okay, interestingly enough, there is a timeout being called by Nana and Friends right now. Maybe they actually do have a coach, and I might be wrong. But yeah, it's just how they kind of want to play off of this, which is interesting at the same time because they just won that round. They're definitely looking to secure a 7-5 first half.
Yeah, at this rate, Nana and Friends want to keep this trend going right now. They seem to have NYX red, and when you were really creeping up towards the end of this first half, you want to close out strong. You want to make it as difficult as possible going into that second half, and getting that pistol round that could completely change. It will really define who will be winning out, Ascent.
I just kind of really need as many rounds as possible, especially because it's Ascent, especially because you're going to be swapping sides afterwards. But now, I mean, that's one of those things that we're talking about with timeouts. You might be the ones to call it, but your opponents can kind of discuss things as well at the same time. And with ultimates at hand, this could go either way, Vic.
Yeah, it really could go either way. I do find it curious that Sovas on both sides, though, are really shooting those darts as shallow as possible. They just want that early info. And it looks like NYX is just completely wandered into A site again. But that could be completely planned. Because every single time, Nana, as long as they're all alive, their post-plant retakes have been paying off.
Especially with their utility, right, Vic? Delbisky instantly dismissed as well, so no more lurks to worry about. Which bodes well for Nana and Friends, but look at the gunfight going through. Sam Shuni, they are dealing with all of it. 6-6 is what we have at the end of the first half.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Nana completely threw out all those ults, all that util, which is usually paid off and was definitely part of the plan. NYX, at the end of the day, reminds you this is an FPS esport. It's raw gunpowder is all you really need.
Especially if you have the right positioning. Just click heads. But, you know, well, my analysis at least is going to be click heads. Our panel's going to have much better to say. So Tash and Raph, take it back from us, please.
Thanks very much, casters. Vic and Quack, very exciting gameplay coming through here. This round 2 is definitely something very exciting as we are seeing this match. Last time Nana and Friends took this map away from NYX, and I think that this time around it might just be the same story, unless of course NYX Kyosei has an idea on how exactly to break this. I would say it's not really a set play per se coming in from Nana and Friends. It's more of like they're willing to give up the site. They're willing to play retakes coming through. They're understanding that the initial aggression coming in from NYX Kyosei is something that they might not be able to play together, given the fact that half the team will be on the other side. So they're okay to play back, play strike the numbers, and play for retakes. And I think that is one of the biggest things that have been making these rounds really work out for them.
Exactly. There's a lot of emphasis on safety, especially for the first few rounds for NAF. And I'm glad that NYX, on their side, they identified that there is a lot of space being given so they can be a little more aggressive and dump a little bit more utility to, again, continue their push. However, I feel like and again, our casters brought this up. Count would be very, very disappointed, especially with NYX Kyosei. There's so many times where they would get a good initial duel, but they don't maximize their numbers advantage. And I feel like that's been one of their issues, especially on these post plants where it looks like a clutch is brewing. But again, it is only the first half, and knowing Ascent, the adjustments are still going to come with more layers and just, again, more patience and more firepower from all our teams.
Yeah, I think a 6-6 half is decent for both teams, given the fact that, I mean, when you look at how aggressively they play, I think you can also expect an aggressive defensive side coming in from the team itself. But Nana and Friends, as we know, heavy into default. Let's see whether or not NYX Kyosei has an answer to this type of play. So I'm going to toss it back to our casters, Vic and Quack. What do you guys think?
I'm still gonna go with what Vic said. You know, it's just, I think it's gonna be NYX win, probably, maybe. We'll see.
I don't know anymore. I think NYX needed to get a lot more rounds for me to be confident about that. A lot of their Ascent wins, you know, was their attack is when their attacker sided. But who knows? You know what? In the world of Valorant, everything's unpredictable, and sometimes history doesn't mean anything. You could have the longest win streak and still lose at the very end, and I've seen vice versa completely happen with the underdog story. But so who really knows? We are in the last chance qualifiers, though, so I do know all these teams would very much like to get into Elite. So right now, they're pulling everything out of the strat book and showing what they've got. Meanwhile, you can see their playstyle is so different. NYX's playstyle is so different than Nana and Friends, just positioning themselves this far out, which is it's a complete opposite.
Wow. And just going in for the peak, too. Som walks away with one frag, instantly traded. Shuni kind of trying to help her out, but not quite able to do it too well. Recon, or a bit of a counter recon coming in just to ensure that if they are pushing out a B main, they would be all tagged up. And it does stem the bleeding. Nana and Friends actually backing off. And while their spike was never really committed towards the B site, so they have some options to work with right now.
You know, with that Killjoy triggering at trees, the
30
NYX
seconds left.
is now aware that there is some action going on A site, and you can see that while they're not quickly over rotating, they're aware that something's about to happen.
A little bit of something. Everyone's positioned onto site. Heidi kind of just receiving them. Delbisky finding a couple as well.
Left.
And Muck's the only one left with not much time at all. Can't find the shot. Delbisky with the third kill. NYX takes the pistol.
Yeah, that was a really important round. We were just talking about this in the first half. Going into this, when your scoreline is that close, winning this pistol round, again, could define a lot. If they continue this trend with now the superior guns, you can see Delbisky is arming up with a full Vandal buy. They want to make sure this is their round for the keeping.
Oh, that's crazy. Good catch, Vic. You're going with the Vandal on round 2, and given the fact that you are starting on defense, that actually would be a really sound choice. It's just that you don't want to hand that over onto your opponents. So playing it safe is the best bet. Not on friends right now, though.
It is in Delbisky's hands. They're Killjoy, who usually plays Duelist. But the choice is very interesting. Well, because they know Som's going to be the one pushing out, getting that info, trying to get that first kill. So I don't think they'll be losing that rifle too soon.
Yeah, all good. If anything, maybe Som loses her Spectre. But look at how they're playing, actually. It's rather safe. Good peeks, good movement, and a crisp shot on towards Angela. Now she commits into a spray, and Shuni has to bail her out. So a bit of damage more coming through, and making the right calls as well. Delbisky susses out Ice's position.
They're pushing out from both sides. Knowing that Nana and friends is probably trying to get that intel, get that info, get those peeks. I mean, both of them were just ready to get those shots, and it...
Oh, man.
I mean, there you go. It's 2 rounds already into the second half. Really clean for them.
Yeah, it is that save round coming up for Nana and friends. And you would have expected maybe they do a little bit more damage economically towards NYX, but at the same time, you take what you can get, but it does show that NYX is so much better prepared on the defensive side right now, especially when you have players like Som just weaving in and out of cover.
Look at this setup right now, though. NYX is ready to push out of A. They're going to come into full contact with Nana and friends. Nana and friends, they're not going in too soon anymore. Not walking into NYX's crosshairs, but they were really prepared for that A site hit.
I guess trying to replicate a little bit of that gelato crunch that we've seen from other teams, but this time just getting completely shut down by Nana and friends. And off of that initial engagement, Vic, look at this. They're going and rotating all the way towards the B site.
Yeah, they want to join the Killjoy party at B. Delbisky is now set up at B instead of A. Angela getting that good first kill, and I hope she stays alive, not improving you wrong, Quack, that she doesn't always die right after that first kill.
Definitely not, and this is a good look for her. Nana and friends now just trying to hold down the site, and look at the positioning as well. 2 on site, 1 in B main. Angela just hovering around door. NYX is possibly aware of this, but they're gonna have to be so careful because it's initial contact and then trading out. Nuki able to take down Khan. 2 players left, and they might be able to push up further front, but how many angles do they have to clear, Vic? It's just way too much, and a simple phantom spray. Muck trading off of it. Maybe some slight whiffs, but at the end, we win out the round. Nana and friends coming back.
You know, Nuki is just feeling her shots right now because she is, again, getting a lot of those critical kills on the other team.
It's something that you desperately need, but slowly coming back into it as well. 17 kills is what Nuki has under her belt, but at the same time, if you look at what NYX has, it's a lot more coordination. Everyone kind of chipping in bit by bit.
Yeah. And you can see it. You're absolutely right there. You can just see how NYX is playing very cohesively. While aggressive, it is very cohesive.
This time, not aggressive, though.
No.
Oh, look at the positioning this time. Kind of inviting Nana and friends in. You want to join my party? No, I'm not powerless. Oh no, maybe I am. Alright, here comes Angela. Right on top of Generate, she drops down, and Shuni's attention is completely bought out. Som able to hold down the ground though, along with Patey coming out from door. It's a clean hold for NYX, and they take it 9-7.
I find it really fascinating. The moment, because I've seen this happen now in the first half and the second half, the null command, whoever is pulling out that null command, oh, I like that slow-mo moment. That null command comes out. the other team ends up winning the round. It's almost like you can't use any util, and then there's nothing else you can do but go into full contact, and that's what ends up happening. The other team ends up just aiming, shooting, and for whatever reason, it's been not paying off wherever it does the null command.
It kind of, I guess, gives their position away, their entire strategy away as well, and maybe the protocols just aren't that clean. Angela trying to play off of Generator, but not quite able to find too much, and they're not landing their shots either. NYX, on the other hand, are landing everything, Vic. And look at how they're playing right now. Paranoia prepped in case someone pushes out of mid. There it is. Gets sent down. And Som wants to play off of this, but oh my goodness, they're dashing back to back. Som landing a perfect shot on towards Cupcake's head, and then Patey peeking off of it. It's a flawless win for NYX Kyosei.
NYX Kyosei is just looking really good right now and proving why they have a really strong win rate on Ascent. They're just playing very confidently right now, not holding too far back into sight, except for that one round where they were expecting ults to come out from that KO. And if they, again, this is the kind of momentum that they want to carry forward as they are creeping closer and closer to that match point.
And that's, it really is pretty close now, Vic. Especially if you're considering, yeah, this is LCQ. Yes, it might be a double elimination bracket, but you want as much as you can possibly get. And if Not a Friends drops right now, as we move on to the next map, it might be their pick, but Fracture is where things can get hectic as well. So Jacob trying to kind of put an end to this, calls the timeout, but I don't know what they can really change up in this round. They might have some guns under their belts, but I think it's the strategy that's a little bit lacking, because they might be trying to collapse or waterfall into a single site. But when NYX goes proactive and makes a play like what we just saw with the Paranoia coming up from Patey, it really turns things around on its head.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it at this point, Nana and friends, and I hope this is what this timeout was all about. We want to see something a little bit more unusual in the pathing. You can even see here as they're pinging the map, they're cooking up something a little bit different, and they want to catch NYX off guard.
I want to see a turret behind, though. They do kind of have an alarm bot. But look at how Angela's clearing out the entirety of tiles as well as B lobby. They know it's going to be an A hit, and Delbisky is prepared to make some biscuits. All right, not quite at the moment.
Biskies?
Maybe some. I was thinking about it,
biscuits?
but the dark cover just comes up at the right time. Crispy Patey is so on point with these. Now it's just a waiting game.
It is. I think at this point, NYX knows it's if you slow Nana and her friends down, there's just so little time on the clock, and again, they have that pressure push, and they walk right into their trap. Look at this crossfire setup right now.
Oh no!
It's a flawless round.
They tried to execute, Vic. They really tried. There was a recon sent out, but it just doesn't matter.
It looks like a drone fight at that point. But I think that might be what is stopping Nana from getting these rounds. It's that hesitation. They're being a bit cautious, but in that hesitation, in that moment of doubt, you're giving NYX time to set up for that crossfire, and that's exactly what happened yet again.
And that's the crazy. NYX only had 3 players on A side. They managed to stop this entire push with 3 players. Because they had info, they had positioning, and they weren't buckling under pressure. There might have been a recon, but still landing those shots. This time, Som trying to go out for some info. A little bit discouraged after having spotted 1. But at the same time, it's info that's useful. Patey smokes off B main, and now they're going to have to think twice before dashing in.
Yep, and they're doing exactly that. Thinking twice, but Angela is trying to get as much space as possible. She's far into B side, but Shuni takes it down.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate, but unfortunately, this will not be your territory gained this time around, Nana and friends. They lose this round, and it's going to be match point as well, and given their guns, it's just near impossible for them to come back at this point. Not unless Ice can do something. Up towards A short. Simple click to the head. And she's looking to get the spike planted around Generator. Som now going out with some peeks of her own. Wide swing all the way to the other side with an operator. Now she has the angle. Ice might be trapped, but she takes down Shuni anyway. 7 HP is what Som has. But just pushing out of door now. Lockdown in place, and Muck is trying her darndest to keep the dream alive. Give me this one round. I do not want to go into match point. Not yet. She puts her turret down, trying to play off of it, but Patey is just sharper. Match point for NYX Kyosei.
That's right. NYX is, at this point, Nana's economy is completely broken. Muck tried her darndest to hold that site down with that lockdown, but it wasn't quite enough. Nothing but a sheriff in her hand. And at this point, it's really going to take a miracle for Nana and friends to keep this dream alive. For a cent, anyway.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's just so worrying, Vic. And look at how... You know, remember earlier on we were talking about Nuki having 17 kills? She's only found 1 so far. And then on the other hand, Patey has been coming up huge. 22 kills into this last round. We're going in. Angela trying to make some plays, but she's suppressed by that KO knife. Nuki able to find 1, though. Make that a second. Khan suddenly taken down. Shuni just holding it on site, however. Repositioning towards lane, she finds yet another. Nuki answering back, and now it's all down to Delbisky.
Oh, Nuki heard you. Is that going to be the ace?
No
Hunting for it. Ice trying to get that info. Ooh. Delbisky walking into that info. And Delbisky takes advantage of it, stealing away Nuki's ace.
That's sad.
I know,
So
unfortunate.
sad.
But look, she's not going to go down with just 1 kill in the second
you
half
really?
anymore.
Oh my god. Lockdown. It baits out the Hunter's Fury. Goes in for the swing.
Oh my
What
goodness.
a flick. Nano Swarm to keep her trapped back towards the other side. And now she goes in for the commitment, but Ice in her veins manages to keep that dream alive for 1 more round.
That was incredible by both sides. Just really smart usage here of their ults against each other. And Delbisky came real close. Really close. But Ice wanted to make sure they went into this this round.
You can kind of see that Eyes was, yeah. Not too phased by the movement coming out from Delbisky. She actually had a little bit of a shimmy, and I think that's kind of what threw Delbisky off, trying to track and get that recall control going. But it wasn't meant to be. Next round, though, NYX has so much in their bags, a lot of money. Shorty is brought out, but unfortunately, Sand will not be able to find all too much. Khan's still alive, no? Oh, I say that, and then she just kind of fizzles out.
Is Nuki coming back up? Oh, no, left by herself. He just left her. Yeah, they're way back into sight now. And in this 2v2.
1 enemy remaining.
Could happen. It's happening.
It's happening.
Patey and Delbisky each taking an angle of their own, managing to take down both players. And that's the teamwork that NYX Kyosei has. 13-8, Vic.
That's right. 13-8. It is not. You can see why NYX ended up picking this map again. Wanted that redemption. Lost to Nana and Friends last time, but this time, you know, they switched up who was playing which agent, and they played very differently, very confidently, and that's what really carried them forward into that victory. Because that first half was really shaky for them. Second half, absolutely not.
Yeah, pistol round, maybe a little bit tricky, but once you start to see Som get going, especially when she picked up that operator in the second half, getting that pistol round win, and the Spectre, she started to go a lot more aggressive, especially on the defensive side, and I think that's one of those things that threw Nana and Friends off. I would have expected at least double digits for Nana and Friends maybe, but this was not the best map for them, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's right. But you know what? We're going to leave it to our desk to break this all down in more detail. Tash and Raph, over to you.
Thank you very much, Vic and Quack, for the cast. And I think this is going to be very exciting because, again, as Vic said, this is the redemption arc. This is the revenge arc, rather, for NYX Kyosei. Previously, when they played, it was Nana and Friends who won who won this map. But then again, arc redeemed. Now let's talk a little bit about what we saw earlier. And I think the first half for Nana and Friends, it looked a little bit more strong in my opinion compared to NYX. And again, this is a very defense-sided map. I was very concerned in my opinion because for how NYX plays, it is suited for more attack side. But again, when you want to talk about Ascent, a defender heavy map, it can still be very shaky coming through. But they seem to have figured out how exactly Nana and Friends played and how exactly to break the defense on how they set it up.
I think I'm gonna go back to my original point where there's a lot of emphasis on safety, especially on the side of Nana and Friends. So in a way, NYX had so much just confidence and comfort to set up their retakes, which I think was really the cherry on top of how they played today, as the way they collapsed on those retakes just looked that much more refined in comparison to Nana and Friends. And they're maximizing all these small windows from all the utility that they invested in. Again, Heidi has still been, or Crispy Heidi?
Crispy Heidi.
Heidi, right?
Yeah.
Again, absolutely a tear. So many layers that they had to try and control, but instead of NYX going for a more staggered approach, they just kind of went for one fell swoop, and Nana and Friends unfortunately buckle on the first map.
I really want to come back to like what we saw in what they played, or at least what NYX played previously against them. Everything that we saw the last time they played on Ascent was completely different this time. With Capricious running the Sova last time, they changed it up. They put Capricious on the Jet, which I thought was strange at first because Capricious has always been a person who really thrives on that Jet role, and I thought it was going to be Delbisky that was going to be running the Duelist. But I would say these changes are definitely something that looks a lot better on them, on how exactly they play and how exactly they decide to go aggressively. Regardless, as we go into this game, I love the fact that NYX is able to learn a lot from the last loss on this map and really be able to build up on themselves to really understand how it takes to, I would say, break the set play coming in from Nana and Friends. And Nana and Friends, despite that, and I think the biggest problem is they're still going on that default heavy sort of setup. And because they don't have an answer other than knowing that default heavy setup, that is the problem, because they, in my opinion, they felt a little bit more one-dimensional compared to NYX Kyosei. Regardless, congratulations to NYX Kyosei for that first map. When we come back, it's going to be map number 2. Let's see what's going to be. It's going to be a 2-0 or a 2-1. We'll see you guys in a little while.
One enemy remaining. Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
Flash.
Spike down A. One.
Found them.
One enemy remaining.
Oops.
While the redemption arc happened for Nana and friends, or rather for NYX Kyosei against Nana and friends, we are now in a map number 2, Fracture. Whether or not we'll see which team set go better in the next one is the question as we come through. Raf, my co-host slash panelist, was with another panelist, which I'm very sad that is no longer here.
What do you think of what happened in the game? I see. I don't think she's very interested right now. I think she's trying to steal the loaf of bread that is on my desk. But she's enjoying her massages as, again, we are going into a pretty heated map too. And this is also kind of going into the whole... Please don't bite me. This is going into the whole idea of we don't want to be the first team to enter the lower bracket, especially in LCQ. It's just because it's, again, the added mental pressure and the weight on their shoulders, especially on the side of Nana and friends right now, might just increase exponentially. But again, Tash, this is why we really, really enjoy our game changers and just Valorant in general. Anything can happen.
That's right.
I
Now,
love that logo.
That's right. But anyways, coming into Fracture, while this was a Nana and friends pick, NYX will be going on defense first. Now, if you look at Fracture, and I really want to emphasize for Nana and friends, this is their map pick coming through. The last time they played was in the Swiss stage. It was against Team Tiamat, where they went 2-0. And the way they play, I would say it's more of like a double initiator sort of play coming through alongside a Sentinel as well as one Julius, where Angela will be running Julius on this particular map. And it's going to be raised for how exactly they want to be playing this. Now, coming into this, I mean, I think we had this conversation, Raf, how Nana and friends seem to struggle when it comes to maps that have this sort of like set plays coming forward. Can you explain that a little bit for me?
Well, especially on the side of Nana, right? And from what we've seen from Ascent, I feel like I sound like a broken record, but they do kind of emphasize just, hey guys, let's be cautious. Let's take a step-by-step approach on these things. And you would think that, yes, that's definitely one of the more textbook ways to approach, but it's become a little bit predictable, especially if you're a NYX player right now, a NYX Kyosei player, because they've, again, identified that there's so much space being given. They're taking it for free and getting a better launch pad for either a retake or, again, a site execute if they want to do that. And plus, the dueling has just been, I guess, pretty lopsided on the side of NYX Kyosei, because Piety has just been absolutely demonic with all the duels she's been taking.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I think on top of that, it also comes, again, go back to mental. I think it's just the basics as we come forward. You can tell that as the many rounds that Nana and friends were not able to score, the more you can start to see the panic just really settling in, how they're a little bit more, I would say, sloppy when it comes to those aim duels as well. And this is something you want to, I would say, you want to avoid, especially on a map like Fracture, which is just, oh my god, he has another one. Especially,
Yeah.
especially when you
A little
are...
bit jealous.
Yeah, we have a brown and a white one. But coming back, especially when you are on a map like Fracture, which is so momentum heavy. And a map that is so momentum heavy like Fracture, where you can change so many rounds in a row, what can Nana and friends do? You can't keep defaulting on a map like Fracture. You need to be able to be a little bit more creative on how exactly you want to break these attacks, how exactly you want to break these set plays. And I think that for NYX and friends, sorry, NYX Kyosei, holy, NYX Kyosei, I think in general, has been a little bit more, they know how exactly to execute. Execution-wise has been phenomenal for them, especially on attack side. But the question is, how is Nana and friends going to react to this? Because so far, we didn't see an answer for them on Ascent.
Nana and friends, I feel like number one on their priority list is to be a little more assertive so that their passive play is going to be respected. They can freeze the opposing team. In this form, it's going to be NYX Kyosei. And just be, again, with that space being respected, they have a lot more room to exact their plan. And we see that step-by-step process. It's just they're taking a little too long for NYX to just be receptive of it. They're like, okay, we know this is going to be the wind-up. We know that you're going to be taking forever to set up. We're just going to basically maximize what damage we can do in this small window. That's right. Manju, it's okay. It's okay. I think she likes NYX Kyosei. She's actively disagreeing with my point.
And I think, like, coming forward as well, let's talk a little bit about space taking. I think that one thing that I think Nana and friends should really worry about is the amount of space if say that they do give it up, if say that they do I think for NYX, it's been really important for them to get the information on which side is the stronger side and which side is the weaker side. And then once they figure it out, they're able to just really rotate quickly and get onto site quickly. And then it's all about denying all that space from Nana and Friends. And once that happens, whatever ideas Nana and Friends
Ooh.
has is just all gone. But let's have a look at the agent select here. What are your thoughts, Raf?
Again, chamber. I love me some chamber picks because it is very telling of the tempo. While we saw a fade on the opposite side, so meaning they're gonna have a little more emphasis on the brawling, finding that much more value on the prowler, and just overall trying to have that much more control over that limited range that can be incredibly daunting for, I believe it was Nana and Friends on the right side of our screen.
Yeah, that's right. And I think we can already sort of predict what kind of style of play is coming through by NYX Kyosei. It's going to be very aggressive. It's all about fighting for that space and taking it away from Nana and Friends. But what about Nana and Friends? It's really hard to really predict when all they're really good at is about, playing that default heavy style. I mean, yeah, the default heavy style can work. Again, this map does have 4 orbs. I would love to see Nana and Friends take a little bit more proactive measures in trying to fight for those orbs, really farm them up, give the right players those orbs to be able to take up space and deny a lot of, I would say, plays. But let's see if whether or not this will be happening as we go into map number 2. Vic and Quack, take it away.
Thank you, Tash and Raf. We're going to be going into the second map, Fracture. I think this is going to be really exciting, judging by the playstyle we saw a bit on Ascent. And again, repeating here, it's a little bit different. While the comps are the same, their IGL, Som has previously known as Capricious, has decided to take on the duelist role instead. So I wonder if a lot has been changing here. Maybe the shout calling has been, handed off to someone else instead, in addition to change our role. And Delbisky, again, is stepping off the duelist role, off that Neon. So I think right now they are looking like they're just, they're at their strongest when they're a full W.
If it worked on Ascent, so they could do it again. And if we're going full W on a map like Fracture, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be really fun. I'm a little bit concerned for Nana and Friends now. I mean, they have a pretty standard, good composition as well. It's just how they're actually gonna work around it. And what we saw from before is that Angela kind of has those W tendencies as well, maybe, but it's not quite as strong. Maybe the team doesn't really follow up off of it, or it's just not as similarly aggressive or execute heavy, and that kind of hurts them in the process. You need more confidence, is what we're saying.
Oh my gosh, I never knew Tactibear had a balloon Tactibear on Fracture. Now I know. Anyway,
very tactical.
Yeah.
You have the balloon floating above you. It's not like it's giving away your position or anything.
Maybe it's like a fake out, it's like that's part of his tactics.
A
It's like you
decoy?
think it's a decoy. It's like you think it's Tactibear, but no, it's balloon Tactibear. I want to see where this is. Like, where is this going, Observer? Where is this going? It's
The
sort
whole
of like
Grand
Raf's
Canyon.
shirt. It's like, where is this shirt going? Are these pictures of all the dogs you own, or is it the friends of Nana on his shirt?
Weapon here.
These are the
There.
questions I hope we have the answers to by the end of today.
This is what Vic thinks about. What I'm going to be thinking about, though, is what is happening on the mini-map. NYX and Kyosei are kind of pushing out on both ends, taking control over attacker bridge side. Meanwhile, Nana and Friends just going straight into A main off of this.
Yeah, that's right. It looks like they're rolling into A site, which is completely theirs for the taken right now. Nana
Fascinating.
and Friends just strolling on in really easily with zero resistance.
But you know what, Vic? They spent all 3 sky smokes. They put down a wall of smokes leading up towards the top of drop, and it leaves them with nothing else left to fend off this retake that's impending upon them. Som trying to get out of dodge with the paint shells being thrown at her feet, manages to stay alive, but now gunshots being fired through on sight. Delbisky, as the chamber, manages to take down one, but not for long. Senderi fires back, and Som has to lead the charge now. She's going out to clear some of these corners, but unfortunately, too much noise made, and it's just a very comfortable Nana and Friends. Same result as what we saw starting out on Ascent.
Yeah, Nana and friends had themselves completely positioned, covering every single angle there. So at that point, when you're just running in as a Neon by yourself, apparently she can run a little bit faster than those heavy feet of Brimstone. That was an easy pistol round, and I think at this point, when you're going up against a team like NYX, you need that pistol round. They proved that in the last map. Getting that pistol round gave them that really good advantage in the first half. So I'm sure they're looking for the same right now. NYX, this is NYX. Sorry, this is Nana's map pick.
Yeah. Certainly a little bit more comfortable with it too. But now just slowing things down in case NYX changes things up. And they are stacking up on the B side, Vic. So if Nana and Friends actually pushes into this a little bit carelessly and without caution, they might get their heads taken off. But all right, I like the pace at which this is going. Just being a little bit careful.
Spike
Khan
down,
peeking out, but you got
attacker spawn.
Nuki to trade. And now we might be able to tell that A site is free for the taking.
Down.
Yeah, if they are throwing some util to just try to get some info, honestly, using a lot of util to get info, but on an otherwise extremely clear site. They're beginning that rotation though. NYX is through Dish, and if Angela can hold them back, this looks like it could be another Nana round.
Okay, she's gonna try, but instantly headhunted. Delbisky fires back. That's a bulldog on the ground, and she definitely wants to pick that up. Nuki trying to fend them off. A flashpoint thrown out. Buys a little bit of time,
Enemy remaining.
but you know what? Time doesn't matter when you've got a Spectre in your hands and the high ground. 2 kills back to back. It's all up to Crispy Patey, and unfortunately, she's not going to be able to do all too much. It is a 2-0 start for Nana and Friends.
Yep, that's right. Pistol round, and the next in the bag for Nana. They're off to a good start.
Very simple and clean, and at the same time, just trying to push out on Dish. I mean, it was a good shot, a good attempt from Delbisky to start things off, but still, with the firepower and the positioning that we had, Nana and Friends are very good at kind of reacting to information that they get. But if it's something that surprises them, then they might not be able to come back too quickly. So NYX and Kyosei right now, just trying to play a little bit more safe. They've got the guns.
Yeah, that's right. They do have the guns now, slightly superior over Nana and Friends. But it's going to be important for them to keep it because they can easily slip away. Piety getting those 2 kills in.
Not bad right now.
Yeah.
Okay, but then we're getting damage
enemy
taken
remaining.
by incendiary grenades, as well as Angela pushing up. This is a round that NYX should be winning, but
Spike planted.
everything's going haywire. Som now, hearing that the spike's been planted, knows that there is a player on site, wants to clear it out, able to take the first shot, but aim a little bit shaky. Needing to fend off a lot of this utility being thrown at her. Kicks things into high gear, able to dodge out some of these plays and moves, but oh my god, Nuki! Just as she goes in for the slide, pops her head! It's a 3-0 start for Nana and Friends.
You know, I'm really liking this side of Nana right now. We were talking about how coordinated NYX looked in their aggressive pushes, but now I'm seeing a lot of this coordination coming from Nana and Friends. You can see they're kind of bouncing off of each other to flush Som away from that spike, and, you know, just getting away with a really easy another round. And NYX, honestly, really needed that round. You can see now their economy is broken. They're going to have to build it up all over again.
Just how do you do that? And they're starting out on the defense. We saw how NYX played on defense on Ascent. It looked a lot better. But just given how this map is laid out, they're not quite able to find those opening picks that they've been looking to claim.
Look how
Nana and Friends are just expecting them.
Yeah, they are. They're waiting for something different because NYX probably know they have to do something differently as well, but it's not quite happening yet.
Okay.
Oof.
Oh, Almost burned down the first initial phase of the timer. Now we're going in.
Revealing area. There
Ice
they
gets
are.
that first shot. I mean, at this rate, they're just pouring into A site, getting a lot of space onto sand.
Delbisky's right above them too, but
30
I don't-
seconds left.
I don't know if you could peek out at that smoke like that.
Yeah, it's a tough position.
One enemy remaining.
Heidi just pushing out from spawn as well. Easily spotted. And what we have in our hands is a potential flawless round for Nana and friends. Yeah, it's gonna be a flawless Vic. 4-0.
Yeah, 4-0. Look, we were talking about this during break. Judging by, again, we were talking about historically speaking, NYX has a slightly higher win rate on Fracture, especially on defense. But Nana and friends, you know, they played Fracture a lot more, and it really shows here how confident, how comfortable they feel on this map.
This
This is a
more
weird,
experience.
like, it's like a, you know, in roller coasters, it kind of like stops halfway because there is like a technical thing, and it's
That's
just, like,
horrifying.
it's horrifying, yeah. And this is how I feel watching these ladies hanging on a rope. Like something's wrong right now. Just over this abyss. Oh my goodness.
Just don't look down. Don't look
This is
down.
it's like a weird place. It's a weird place to be. You know, you can get extreme rope burn. Just
Rope burn?
hanging out here.
I thought you were gonna say like vertigo or something. Rope
Yep.
burn?
Probably vertigo too.
Oh, that's all good. Timeout's just about over. NYX desperately trying to turn things around. And you know, maybe they haven't played Fracture as much as Nana and friends have, but they do have a somewhat decent track record. Surely they can tap into some of that, especially with the fact that they've got such a deliberate agent composition. The Neon and the Chamber.
Oh, they have 3 ults up now too, with at least one more of them ready to go online as well, with one more orb or a kill.
Okay. And there are 4 orbs across this map.
Mm-hmm. What did you guys call your orb farming? It's like a little
Pac-Man. Pac-Man strat.
Yeah.
Oh, no Pac-Man today though.
Nah,
We're just playing it safe.
not needed.
Not Nana and friends. Yeah, they're just straight into sight. W key. We've got the spike down now. Orbital strike being used, but it's just completely evaded. Maybe not the best position to throw it in. Nobody's peeking off of it either. Aftershock just to secure the corner, and that's a dead Cuppy Cake. Rolling Thunder being sent out now, along with an attacking Killjoy lockdown. All the ultimates being dumped into this one play, Vic. Nana and friends trying to fend them off. One player detained. They're trying to keep that spike alive.
Player
Angela
standing.
trying to hold it down towards defender spawn, but Haiti answers back. Timer's still ticking though, and Nuki is very much alive. Shoots out the recon, swaps over onto Som, but with the body blocks coming through, Piety able to take her down in just enough time to get the spike defused.
Woo! By the hair there. You know, Nana and friends, their protocol for this just now was fantastic. But what stopped them ultimately, NYX was just winning out those gun duels, like getting these kills here. And that ended up winning the round for them. I mean, I like Nana's ideas though. If they can keep this up, it looks like they just have a lot of plays for Fracture. But NYX at this point, if they can continue just to click heads faster, this could be the formula for their win.
Yeah, because you're thinking about all these like ultimates being sent out, ISIS lockdown as well, but they weren't quite able to kind of hold it down as soon as NYX tried to fight back, especially with Nuki up on top of the tower. A little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. You know what we have now? It's going to be NYX Kyosei with this setup towards A main. Oh, look at this.
I'm looking. They're hanging out in A right now, and NYX is also holding pretty far forward, especially when you have a breach and a neon like that in that crossfire. They're hoping to trap some people in there.
Oh my gosh, showstopper though.
Ruins their plans.
That's a dead Sham. But Shuni actually takes out Angela as soon as the showstopper was popped. So a bit of a trade, not too bad. Nana and friends still alive. NYX, though, with the control now. Delbisky with the operator towards this angle, too. It's going to be tough for Nana and friends to push on through. Got the rendezvous set up as well, and that's a second shot fired out. Khan now peeking out of the sky smokes, a double kill back-to-back, and NYX finding that second win.
Well done by NYX. That recon just coming out with the perfect timing, getting that remaining info to clean up the rest of the mess here.
It's just a way to climb back into the game.
Yeah, that was
that's...
It was just a great anti-strat by NYX there, being really prepared. And it looks like they're, you know, bringing it all together now. Nana, I think at this point, what we've seen is that when they start to lose that confidence, that is when things turn around. Ooh, Sam is
a lot of confidence
out.
on the other side, Vic. Sam just pops out the overdrive. She only bought a shorty this round. And with a tiny sliver, Cuppy Kick slays her down. Angela's still alive. Shuni, though, right behind her, finds a double. The Sky Smoke now blocking off Nana and friends. And it's the ultimates that NYX uses in this round to kind of, I don't know, trap Nana and friends into this prison around the defender spawn. I mean, attacker spawn. Oh, eyes from the other side.
Strike down A.
That really aggressive push seems to have taken Nana and friends by surprise there. And we're down to 3v2.
Last player standing.
Ooh.
Oh,
Just one lady standing ice. Fire Lonesome really far away from the spike. It's at this rate. Is she gonna save? Oh, she's just gonna
take alt orbs.
Yeah, pick up a couple of orbs. Why not?
Let's go Pac-Man.
30 seconds left.
Try to get some kills. This is gonna be a tough one.
Got some nanostorms. Bit of a peek, but yeah, Delbisky with that operator still deadly, and she's been making that thing sing.
That double kill by Shuni was a great way to justify Sam's crazy push out of B site. I won't lie. I was a little bit like, this is nuts. Because they're all still in spawn and they're waiting for Sam to come in and walk into their crosshairs. Is her death going to be all for naught? But it all paid off.
Certainly did. I don't know how Sam feels though. Their score right now. But the rounds are coming back, which is good.
You can see the frustration from her like laser fingers. Like, why would you die? One person hanging by ropes.
That one little headshot angle.
Sam is hungry though. Look at this. Look at her creeping out of defense. She wants to be on attacker sided right now.
Definitely. And it just buys out so much time too. I mean, so many rounds now we've seen Nana and friends just hanging out around attacker spawn, waiting for that peak, maybe even just positioning themselves around that rope area, which is, you know, that angle where unfortunately Sam wasn't quite able to close it out with her overdrive. So the only thing is that it buys so much time.
It does. And I think that's exactly it. I mean, at this point, they're waiting for NYX to push out. They don't. And now they only have 30 seconds left on the clock to get in. They're ready for this push into A. This is going to get messy.
Very messy. It's a big old fight. And Sam will be the first one to bite the bullet. Now Katie comes back in. Double kill coming through. Nuki finds one of her own. But still, what's happening on the timer? We've got 15 seconds left. If you're not pushed in now, you might as well lose the round. Khan is trying to fend them off. Shock darts into play. And now she's just ducking in and out of cover. Another double kill. It's 4-4. NYX Kyosei coming back.
Yeah, at this rate, waiting for another push like that, I think they were banking on another crazy push by NYX. It didn't come, and they just lost so much time in that process. Fracture is kind of a crazy map. Anyone who's ever played this map knows that, because it's just so dynamic. It's so easy to rotate, to cut across the entire map on that zip line. But at the same time, if you just wait as spawn and nothing ever happens, that's it. Like, you lose all your time and you're forced into a position like the last map where you're forced to push in, you walk right into their crossfire.
And you're gonna have to fight for map control, and I really mean fight, which is why this round, Nana and friends going on the offensive with the Stinger, a bit of a forced buy. It catches NYX Kyosei off guard. However, we've got some ultimates being sent back to back now. Rolling Thunder's going through, and NYX Kyosei is not backing down. Shuni coming out from Generator, able to take out Senderi. Som is already on site as well, and the spike is not even down. A simple take coming through from NYX Kyosei puts them in the lead 5-4.
Yeah, NYX has completely turned this around now. Just being able to read Nana and friends and what they're up to really well. Nana and friends, you can see it happening right now. They're starting to doubt themselves. They're moving a lot slower, a lot less confidently than they were the first few rounds. But they need to remember, this is their map pick, that they prepare for this. And I want to see a lot more of that confidence come through. But on the A side, there's an off ready. Luckily countered with a aftershock there.
It was good for the second. But I don't know what happened with the judge. Oh no, Vic! This is not the way it's meant to be. They had the right idea.
They did.
But as soon as they made the run to site, and with the way that NYX kind of kited them, Rendezvous back on the site in a safer position, holding the same angle now, but with a different vantage point. The operator still so sharp. Khan coming in to back her up as well, watching the A main angle. Senderi cannot do all too much, and NYX secures that 6-4.
I mean, it was a good idea. It's just really unlucky there that NYX had them really well read, that they were going to be coming into A, and just having that op there and repositioning really quickly on the chamber and walking straight into the op again. This is a much needed timeout, even though the score line says it's 6-4. Momentum is very much on NYX's side at the moment.
Yeah, you know how much, Vic? How much it is on NYX's side? Let's see. We can pull out our count impression now. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds. Okay, that's terrible. They've won 6 rounds in a row.
Wait.
You're cringing really hard. I get it.
I'm cringing so hard right now.
Everyone is. I'm not doing that anymore.
That's not even what he sounds like.
I can't do it. I don't have purple skin. All right, but it is 6 rounds in a row.
I rate your impression a whole 1.
Much better. Round of applause for Vic, everybody. I'm canceled.
There.
But hey, 6 rounds in a row for NYX, and you really need to turn things around. They still have some ultimates in the bag. You've got the lockdown as well as the orbital strike on Nana and Friends' side. But so far, they haven't been able to take this operator out of Delbisky's hands. Now she's got the tour de force as well.
Yeah.
How many snipers do you want? Oh my god.
Well, when you're a chamber, you want as many as possible, and it looks like Nana and Friends gonna need some physiotherapy at this rate.
It just completely crumples them. Delbisky, oh, this time she's taken out. Swaps over the Headhunter, but then instantly traded by Angela. Orbital Strike comes in, and it just flushes Nuki out of position as well. You can't plant the spike like this, and Piety will capitalize on that very play. Sanderi now on top of drop. She's got a stinger, but 21 points of health. And Nuki, well, not Nuki, excuse me. It's Shuni's just waiting for that perfect moment, that peak, to claim that 7 round wins to 4.
You know, Nana and Friends came really close there in that final 1v1. You know, in that position with a stinger, But they really needed that round. This is 7 rounds, consecutive rounds in a row. This is gotta hurt for Nana and friends, who started off so strong.
It's just incredible. It hurts for Nana and friends, especially if you're thinking about the fact that, you know, now this potentially could knock them down into the lower bracket. With LCQ, you want to be the secondary tie representative for Game Changers APAC Elite, but you lose this and you're down to 1 life left.
You should run.
Yeah, that's right. Every life counts here. Lockdown creating a lot of space as they move onto A site. But Chamber's waiting there. And Chamber
She's been
Chamber
good.
hurts. Yeah, Chamber hurts.
But if it's a split push coming in with the right timing, she might not be able to get out safely. Good satchel movement coming out from Angela. But the peaks again from Delbisky. Oh, rendezvous into a little bit of an obvious position, but she still finds a flick nonetheless. Heidi is gone as well, so no more smokes available for NYX, and they are trying to retake. Swapping weapons, Angela comes out from defender spawn, and Shuni spots her immediately. Turret placed down, and Easy splashed out of position. Nice, excuse me. Som comes back in, and it's just way too overwhelming for Nana and friends to hold the site. An 8-4 end of the first half.
Yeah, it's an 8-4 end of this first half, and NYX, you know, that was the most insane comebacking, making sure they kept this first half. But 8-4 is
not impossible.
Yeah, it's not impossible.
We've seen 3-11, so I guess, but still, 8 rounds in a row by NYX Kyosei. If you're not on friends, you might really need physiotherapy. You might need to, I don't know, do some stretches. Come into the second half with more preparation.
That's right. I mean, you don't want extreme rope burn caused by a school of fish. That is not the way you want to go.
With that said, I think our panelists are ready to break this down. How did NYX Kyosei win 8 rounds in a row, guys? Tell us. Tash and Raph.
Thanks very much, Victoria, as well as Quack. Now, let's break it down. Now, in the beginning, it does seem like Nana and friends had an idea on how exactly to approach the game and these rounds. They had this kind of like play back, sort of default style play coming forward. But eventually, over time, I believe that that NYX was able to really decipher that this play is definitely breakable. It's more aggression, and I think we gotta really highlight Delbisky as well as Khan for this, because Khan has been really massive on the impact of her utility, especially her recon dart, as well as Delbisky. There's just so much control that she exerts over the area that she holds.
I thought it was a really fantastic start on the side of Nana and friends, as it was honestly pretty unexpected for them to take the bonus round and the round after. But I feel like after that quick hit on the side of NYX is where things went a little south for them. It's when they started taking duels that they shouldn't have, knowing that Nana and friends do have the upper hand when it comes to just the utility shuffle. They have that double innie, and they have the fade to clear out those angles that the operator might potentially dominate. And I feel like we just didn't see that enough. We didn't see enough of them using all their abilities in general. We didn't see a lot of controller pressure. We didn't see a lot of, again, just fake smokes to keep the offensive deck shuffled. Hopefully, Nana and friends can also bounce back, because once again, you don't want to be the first team into the lower bracket.
Yeah, coming back to what you mentioned about Fade, I don't think I saw a lot of impact coming through from her Haunt or even from her Prowler, because the way they put the Prowler was a little bit too far back. It wasn't enough space to be taken up away, which really allowed Delbisky to just play at her own pace. Regardless, let's see whether or not this second half would be changing the pace here. Let's see if Victoria and Quack might have an idea on what we can be seeing.
Thank you very much, Tash and Raph. And yeah, I mean, we're seeing so many of these plays going through, and we need to see that deck shuffled a little bit more and more cards being pulled out, because again, like what Raph said, you don't want to be that first team going down to the lower bracket.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, upper bracket is nice. You do have that slight advantage, but you want to stay in for as long as possible. This is last chance qualifiers, your last chance to join Elite with the other 6 teams and competing to go to Sao Paulo at the end of this year.
Especially when you're thinking about who else is in Elite right now. A second Thai representative for Nana and Friends, that would be really sweet. And for NYX as well to join their like ex-teammates that you've got, RQ, Kaguya, as well as SMG, Orangutan too. There's just so much to think about, but right now we're just double keying into sight. And that's what NYX does best. They already have the spike planted, and now pushing even deeper in. Son is looking to wreak havoc towards the back of spawn, but now stunned out. A fault line perfectly placed, and Nuki might have done it. Now the spike defuse is coming through. We've already stuck it halfway. Might as well go all the way through. Delbisky wants to go in for the swing, but a little bit too late. And Nuki will be able to trade it back. It's 8-5 for Nana and Friends.
That's right. Nana and Friend takes the pistol round. And you can see there was that retakes here work out really well. It worked out for many rounds previously when you're going up against a team like NYX, who's just so high tempo and pushing into sight really quickly, or pushing out on defense even. You know, they're all about those retakes. So NYX though, you know, just keeping up that high tempo, the high pace, might still be the formula to winning.
Smoke's down.
Certainly looks like it, Vic. Sam is just doing the same thing. It's a bit of a force buy as well, as she does not care. Light shields, full shields, I'm going all the way in. We're in there like swimwear. And Nana and Friends are just setting up for the retake with a spike's not planted, so they're like, huh? Where's it going? It's on A!
Yeah, but they're rotating really quickly now, running back, and Som is just waiting to catch anyone on that rotation, hunting for that kill. Som is hungry right now. It's probably why she decided to be a duelist this time around instead of a sentinel.
Yeah,
sorry, initiator.
She's just like making these calls, fakes being sent out, Nana and Friends biting on the bait. Despite having the thighs, Delbisky, look at these shots! 2 headhunters fired off, maybe a third if she can make it land! It's gonna happen! A quad kill in the round, and Som finding one towards the back. NYX Kyosei fights back.
Delbisky, I'm just so impressed by her right now. She's just fitting in those chamber boots really well. Crosshairs finding those heads, living up to the name of the headhunter.
My god, and at the same time, just the fake as well. Is this really how Nana and Friends are gonna play out the second half? Economy not great, 2 sheriffs.
Flash out.
Som already getting that first kill.
no.
Nana and Friends. Oh!
Ooh. Well, it's a good shot, but then Piety just comes out
Ready to go.
following through off of it. Look at the mini-map, though. I kind of... I'm curious. Coming out from drop. Just thinking about it. Shuni hiding underneath drop. She's got 1 flashpoint, and that could perfectly blind them, but oh, just jumping out for a second. Gives away her position. Heidi angling up the incendiary grenade to discourage them from dropping down, but there's a little sliver of space. They managed to go on through, but the sheriff's still not able to do quite enough damage, especially against Delbisky and her headhunter. Another shot fired off. Teammates collecting on some kills as well. It's 10-5, Vic. We've doubled up the score.
Yeah, NYX gives these pistol rounds to Nana and Friends, but that's it. And you can see that Chamber is sharing that friendly message that the other team is so dead. More op shots gonna be coming out now. You know, it's really the Nuki and
That's a good spot.
Patey show here.
You want to play? Let's
They're just
play.
getting these multi-kills on both sides, but NYX's momentum as a team, it's come together.
Just a lot of utility-based impact coming out from those 2 players, Nuki as well as Shuni. But at the same time, Delbisky with these shots so accurate. Another tour de force being pulled out. And she's just completely stopping them in their tracks. Ice though, wow. Angle a little bit exposed. Khan not quite having her back watched by her teammates. it's gonna buy a little bit of time for her to push up front. Ice closing the distance, trying to isolate some duels. And Som's just making as many footsteps as possible, trying to fend her off. Loud noises. And she actually went up onto drop. What?
Ice knows though. Or does
Okay.
she? She checked and left. Oh!
A whole lot easier.
Well, I hate to say it, Vic, but we might see match point really soon.
You think so? Does the
Maybe.
math? Is that what the math says?
That's what the math says.
Delbis.
Especially if you're counting economy.
Yeah. Yep. It's not looking too good.
I am a very good mathematician.
Yes, you are good at math. You're great at math.
I'm terrible.
There.
Nana and friends, they're gonna have to, pull something out of the magic hat at this point, and they might get one or two, but it's gonna be a really it's an uphill battle here.
Without a doubt. And it really just shows the prowess of NYX Kyosei. Ultimates all being sent out now. An execute onto the A site. And you've got Delbisky along with Khan watching A main. A big pitch and 3 players down. Only left with Sheriffs now, and they're coming out from rafters as well as Defender spawn, but it's been made all too aware. Ice going in for some strafe shots of her own. She takes down Som, but now 2 players on her heel. She's gonna get pinched, sandwiched, unable to get out alive. She takes down 3 along with her, which is not too bad, but still. Match point for NYX Kyosei.
Ice is just valiantly trying to keep the team alive, but NYX, you know what? I don't even think there's any one particular star player. Each one of them are playing so well right now. They're playing so aggressively, and they're creating a lot of chaos, whichever sites they're deciding to hit, and it just throws Nana in for a loop. Each one of them are hitting their kills, hitting their shots, doing exactly what they are meant to be doing, and they just look really good. And honestly, if they win this match point, they're going to be giving a lot of teams a run for their money.
Looks like it's going to happen. Such a big win streak at the end of the first half. But now they're slowing down. Nana and friends fighting back with this A main control. But it leaves B open. And Ice, just right around the corner, has a lockdown. Not sure if she can deploy it yet. Okay, bit of Prowler information. A lot of footsteps coming out from Tree as well, though. Delbisky's been spotted, but she still finds a stray shot with that. A second one coming through. Nuki and Cupcake fighting back from around Defender spawn, however, and Pity's trying to keep this alive.
Can Piety do it, though? Defuse is already coming down.
Oh.
As her ult online,
10
stopping that defuse. It's a 2v1. It's doable if she can isolate these kills, but Ice is ready for it.
I thought she was gonna isolate it, but I think I'm not sure if she pulled out utility at the wrong moment. And she just had her body exposed towards the entrance of tower. A little bit unfortunate, not what you want to have in that situation. But a good timed, well-timed orbital strike.
Yeah, her behind was hanging out there a little bit.
And you know Brimstone, he's a thick boy.
He is pretty bootylicious.
Oh, okay. But I mean, I think she was trying to go for a swing potentially as well, and it's just a little bit unfortunate. But that's it. A good way for Nana and friends to keep the dream alive. Tall hill to climb, but this is a good way to start. If you can keep on going with this momentum, it will be huge, but look at NYX kicking up the pace. Som trying to push through A main. A hailfire of bullets just coming through. And it keeps them holds them at bay outside of A main.
Yeah, they have actually stopped that quick push, knowing that there's just a lot going on right now. They could easily win this, so they're slowing it down right now, waiting for any flanks to happen, which aren't on the way, but they're not going to be sloppy. I'm pretty sure there's a call here telling them to, chill. Just chill. They got this.
All right, we're chilling. Just gotta wait out some smokes, and then we can go in. We've got the utility still in our pockets that we can use.
bait out some of the ultimates from Nana and Friends. In fact, Khan, however, actually going to bite the dust in that moment. And it just gives Nana and Friends so much information as to where the spike is planted exactly. Lockdown coming through as well, and they find a frag off of it at the same time. So a lot of space being created with this lockdown from Nana and Friends now. A round retake, very possible. Junie, unfortunately, not quite able to land a shot, and it's all out to Delbisky. Ice sticks it halfway. Here comes the spray going through. She gets off at the time. What a read, what a play. Delbisky brought down to her knees. 12-7. Nana and Friends still alive.
Ice keeping the dream alive. 3 rounds now.
Last player standing.
Always fighting.
Look at that.
Yeah, good play. Good play by Ice. Winning those last 2 rounds. And, you know, with her being the last woman standing each one of these rounds, you can see that she comes so close every single time. All she really needed was just a good rifle in her hands.
Just a little bit more faith and confidence as well. Loving that she's not, you know, shaking under that pressure as well.
You want to
Despite
play?
it being
Let's
match point,
play.
there is a chance that Nana and Friends can push this into overtime, but I just heard that sound. Are we ready to play? Are Nana and Friends ready to play?
She's got a lot of friends. Do you think friends are like, how many friends? It's like 2 friends?
I go for quality over quantity, Vic.
All right. That's fair. That's fair.
All I need is 1, and that's myself, because I'm alone. No, I'm kidding.
So tragic. So tragic. Maybe you can hang out with Nana, because she's got a lot of friends.
I kind of need it. I like the cat. Those are my peeps. Them's my peeps, my friends. It's the cats.
But NYX's dog is I don't know, something else. That expression. Spike is already down here. Again, not much resistance. You can tell Nana and Friends ready to do what they do best, setting up this protocol to retake site.
Let's see if they can make it happen again. Remember that Tour de Force is still online.
And it's
Here it
definitely
comes.
online, already finding a kill.
Oh! This could be it, Vic.
Player
This
standing.
could be it. Shuni all by herself. Cupcake brings them another round. It's Cupcake and Ice here. Is it gonna go to overtime?
Save the day.
That is... I'm sitting up now. I thought it was over. It's not over. They're here to play. They're answering Chambers' calls. And it's like, yeah, we're gonna
We'll play.
Yeah, we're gonna play.
It's just, it's not over till it's over. And what you can see is that, I don't know, NYX's strats have been a little bit more full send with each passing round ever since they reached match point. Almost as if they're a little bit too hungry for it and maybe choking with that pressure. Nana and Friends, on the other hand, actually waking up because of it. 3 rounds won in a row now, and we just need 4 more for overtime.
4 is not that many now. I mean, they had a long road just now, but they're catching up. I'm out of here.
Okay. Once
Site
more.
is well defended, giving Nana and Friends some time to return.
And then the lurk from Delbisky onto A main as well. Oh, that thins out the herd. NYX has the sight and the spike planted too.
Smoke's down.
Suddenly a very doable round for them.
Prepare for hellfire.
Goodness,
One
one will
enemy
strike the
remaining.
flush players out of position. This is it, Vic. It's all up to
This is
Cupcake.
it.
Mark 3.
It's gonna be a flawless round. And it is not a flawless round, but it's a 2-0. NYX Kyosei takes the win in this first matchup of Last Chance qualifiers. What a way to end it. NYX just is looking really strong, and I think if they carry this on going into the next few days, I think they're going to be a really strong contender to win this Last Chance qualifiers. What do you make of it, Quack?
I think so. I mean, even if you're considering some of the opponents that they might face later on, I mean, you've got the Hero KDA, you've got MLT as well. Neons is also another Thai team that looks really impressive, but NYX Kyosei, with the form that they're showing us today, I mean, 8 rounds in a row.
And some of this won off of that crazy aggression, especially when you have a player like Som at the helm. Yeah, it reminds you of some other teams that we've seen, especially like in Game Changers as well. Oh, the good old days.
That's right. I think confidence is really key for a lot of these teams here. And when you have that confidence, just flood into a site and being confident with your kills, it's a game changer for this right now. And NYX seemed to pick up onto that. It wasn't the case initially for both for both games, but they picked up on that and kept it going. With that, we are going to have the desk break this down. So over to Tash and Raph.
Thanks very much, Vic and Quack. Let's talk a little bit more. And I would say that the second half ended a lot quicker than the first coming into the map. As we look forward, I think that NYX, as again, this map Fracture is a map that rewards aggression. And I think that NYX Kyosei, while they have the momentum in their hands, they kept it going. And I think what's really important is just to highlight once again the impact that utility brings through. I would say the set play they have alongside their, I would say their agents. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of seeing a Sova on this particular map, but I do understand what they wanted to achieve with the Sova utilities, and they make it work so well.
I mean, the safety is there, and the range for the post plant is definitely something that they had a good time with. The drone getting a little bit of safety for Capricious when she did decide to entry for the team. I feel like Tash, it was really more of the same here, although we did see Nana and friends kind of pick up the pace, especially in the latter portions of our second half. They turned up the tempo, yes, but how they went about it was, again, just a little bit shaky. We talked about how much utility they have to pressure NYX to, again, make a mistake or create an opening, but we never really saw too much of that. They used their utility to supplement the brawls instead of kind of bleed out NYX, which is, again, something that we would have fully expected from Nana and friends, considering they had a very, very big lead in terms of just utility use. I mean, utility available to them.
Yeah, and I think that in a lot of situations, like say the eco, I would say after the pistol, where they did win pistol on the second half and the second round, technically they had the guns, they should have won that. The fact is, I would say it's a little bit of I'm not sure whether it's a miscommunication or rather a little bit too excited on how exactly they want to approach it. They already knew Delbisky was there. We saw the chain of the flash alongside, just to really displace Delbisky from her situation. But with Delbisky, the only thing she had was just her headhunter, and she knew how to abuse that to advantage. Micro adjustments, and the fact that they're not able to successfully peek her off one by one allowed her that isolation to be able to get at least 4 in that particular round. And I think since then it was just like a straight up snowball for them. Yes, we did see a moment where they did give a few rounds after they hit match point, but in that situation it's more of like a marathon. Once you hit round 12, there is that mental block where you just feel like it's just a little bit more, we gotta end it. But I think that would be like my only criticism toward NYX, in my opinion, because end of the day, when they do manage to play together, when they manage to get their set plays down, it would have been the most. And I think that, in my opinion, I would say that I was expecting a little bit more from somebody because as she plays Neon, but it felt like she was a little bit too aggressive. But she does get one, and she does give that space. So at least you can say that, okay, I've done my job. That's done. It's down. Now it's up to my teammates, and I think she does a pretty good job on that.
Oh yeah, I mean, as people like to talk about and label our duelist players, they're basically glorified recon darts. You can get one, you can get 2, but the most important thing is the space that you create for your team, and just kind of allow everybody else to funnel in behind you. But in any case, we just didn't see that type of explosiveness on the side of Nana and friends, which unfortunately led to them falling into the lower bracket. But of course, to all Nana and friends fans out there, they still have an extra life. Just a little more careful this time around, they should be. But again, Tash, we saw a lot of those key weaknesses that we discussed in the pregame, and as well as our casters pointed out, there was the idea to go for the tempo, but where was the execution on the side of Nana and friends? And again, NYX had a lot of the patience and just kind of used that round buffer to, hey, let's reset, let's stand our ground, and let's just close this out.
Yeah, and I do think that for NYX, they do have a little bit of trouble in the first few rounds. But the round adaptations that NYX Kyosei has been honestly phenomenal. Because they do
True.
make me take 2 to 3 rounds to really figure it out. They get punished early for how they play, and then they're like, okay, we're starting to see this pattern, let's adapt to it. At first, you start to see maybe Capricious, somebody one, push out, and then after 2 3 rounds in a row, she just dies early. What do? They play a little bit more back. They go for a different side of set play coming through, and they're not afraid to change up their utilities on how exactly they set up in different rounds. They have a different round. They have a different strong side and a different weak side as well. So it's really hard for Nana and friends. Like even though they do play the default sort of play, how exactly are we gonna really pinpoint these patterns and play against them when we can't really figure out where Delbisky is going to be with the op, where Capricious or somebody one is going to be pushing out. It's tough for them. And even though, I mean, yeah, that's what they want to use their Fade for, but I really think that for NYX Kyosei, they know exactly how to counter I would say, the Fade Haunt or even the Prowler. They play a little bit more back, tucking themselves in the corner, and once they hear the utility being used, then exactly they kind of like show their cards. And by that time, it's a little bit too late. They're running out of time. They gotta commit, and I think that has always been the I would say the biggest issue for Nana and friends. They take way too long to really commit to a site.
The crux of the problem, and again, when in the words of Quack, when what was NYX Kyosei, when they're in the site, in their like swimwear, it's just really hard to wrangle the control away and to just kind of wrestle the post-plant strength of NYX Kyosei. And yes, I saw that confused look on your face. That's exactly how I reacted when I heard Quack, but I guess he made a pretty good point.
Yeah, but anyways, coming into that game, I think Nana and friends, while they do have, I would say, a pretty, interesting roster coming through with Nuki, I think that for NYX, with the superstar power they have from their players, it's really exciting to see Delbisky back. And I think that we will be talking to them for a little while, in a little while as well. But it really just shows that even though we haven't seen them on the big stage for a hot minute, they still definitely have it in them. And I think this is a great way for them to just reopen and restart their stories to say that, hey, while we were the superstars at one point last year, we may have been gone, but our spark never really diminished. We're still here. We're still here making that impact, and we want to show you guys.
Exactly, and again, that's why we're here for LCQ. A lot of these teams really have a stake in their in this competition. They really want to cement themselves as part of the greats and part of the juggernauts. But again, it is a very, very long and arduous road. And we kind of saw that today too. Despite it being a 2-0, we still saw quite a bit of resilience on the side of Nana and friends. They try to make the correct adjustments. It's just, once again, to circle back on that initial point in the pregame, Tash, it's really these smaller details that separate the teams and, again, their performance from each other.
Yeah, I mean, on top of that as well, I mean, I was honestly surprised seeing, I would say, the lineups anyway, because, like, honestly, I personally thought that Delbisky was the main duelist, and Capricious slash somebody one was going to be their flex, because that's what we saw coming in from the Swiss stage. But coming into this, and then coming into here, you can see like a lot of adjustments have been done. A lot of changes have been brought through into the team, where you can see a lot of the players are a little bit more comfortable playing. And I'm wondering that if this is their final form, this is what they have been practicing for coming into the game itself. And I think it's a great way for them to show that they can master a lot of different strats, a lot of different styles of plays as well coming through. And I think that I would say interchangeable sort of plays, or between like flex and duelist and even initiator for sentinel coming in from NYX Kyosei, it's just great honestly for them, because when it comes to these teams, I think that a lot of what we don't know about them is coming from the element of surprise. There's not a lot of VODs coming in. There's not a lot of information that we can get about the players, especially the newer ones. And even if it was like players we've seen before, we don't know what kind of strats or chemistries are going to be coming through. So when you are able to just abuse this, like, okay, we've played against Nana and friends before, let's change it up, let's kind of catch them off guard, it really shows that there's a lot of proactiveness coming from the team to be able to just really catch them off guard. It's going to be something that they're saying, okay, you can't counter strat us if we're gonna change our strats over and over again.
Yeah, the wow factor and the surprise factor is definitely present in some of these teams, because as you mentioned, there is pretty much a lack of data on how some of these teams play and how you can really pinpoint what type of play style they prefer. But again, going into that, when the element of surprise isn't on your side, then that's where you kind of rely on your foundation as a team. That's where you kind of rely on your skills as individuals and how you are as a cohesive unit. And that's also like very, very big props to the coaching staff, if ever there is a coaching staff, because we've seen coaches be that gigantic difference for teams.
Yeah, and I really like think coming through here, it's going to be really exciting as we go into the second series as well, as we're rushing forward. But for now, we're gonna be going for a break after this series 2 of the night. Don't go anywhere. More of VCT Game Changers APAC coming right at you.
Spike. One enemy remaining. One enemy. Bring them. You should run. One enemy remaining. Shotgun. 10 seconds left. One enemy remaining. No one is scared. Get him. One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
Hey, 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 hey.